Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of F1 22 here on the ChesnoidPlays channel. Last time out we got a remarkable result in Belgium. Very pleased indeed with the P2. We are now third highest on the chart for performance index. We have flown. It was the beginning of the season, as you can see on the left hand side, we were bottom. Now we're third. So we are fighting for podiums, hopefully, at almost every Grand Prix now. Unfortunately, the F1 manager content is going to come to a close. I missed out on the launch hype because of various different things. Most notably, a holiday that I was away for 10 days for. And unfortunately, the content just died. So F1 22 gets more views than F1 Manager. So it makes sense for me to prioritise this, and I want to try and finish this second season before FM content starts. So that's the plan, if I can pull it off. I certainly want to get as close as possible to finishing this second season before before FM comes out. Maybe to the completion of the championship title being awarded. Anyway, oh, it's going to be a wet start to the race, and it will dry up throughout. That's annoying. That sucks, actually, because I'm not great in the wet, but our rivalry is against Daniel Ricciardo now, and we have 5 races remaining to try and do something against him. Hopefully, we can challenge for a podium again here, although I'm not strong at Zandvoort, and the AI are, so I might struggle. We'll wait and see how it goes. Do drop the video a like, though, if you're continuing to enjoy the content here on the ChesnoidPlays channel. It might not be too long before the My Player save from the main channel ends up here on the second channel. Keep your eyes peeled for that. Regardless, let's head to Zandvoort and go and get ourselves, hopefully, some good resource points. So not fast enough. Oh, nearly restarted the session. Not fast enough for the qualifying time, but the default preset setup of preset 3 is faster by about 3/10 than the custom one. And to be fair, it's not too much difference tyre life wise either, all at 8%. The mediums are the tyre set that lasts the longest here, 46, or the last longest with a decent amount of pace in them at least. 46 laps on a medium set, 25 laps on a soft. So we could probably medium to the end after the rain, but we might have to soft it to the end to be fastest. I'm not entirely too sure how we're going to run that with regards the rest of the race post the rain. It depends how early the rain stops. It might be a case of going medium soft or soft medium, but we'll wait and see what the team recommend at any given moment. We're not far off fastest Mercedes. Is there a couple of tenths, but obviously it's only practice 1. We will quit practice 2 and 3 just to get as many resource points as we can, and then assign them as best we can to try and improve the car further. We have rocketed of late, really rocketed to get ourselves massively up the chain. It's been ridiculous. The development in the car this year has been outrageous, trying to get us up towards the upper echelons of the sport, and we've done outrageously well. And these practice program sessions have gone outrageously well as well. That is us done for all of practice. We shall skip practice 3 and get our resource points, please, if you don't mind. And then assign them towards the end of, or before we get to qualifying. Let's just go skip to qualifying. Start qualifying and skip practice 3. Yes, please. Now then, where do you think we'll qualify? I'm not sure we'll qualify that well here. I've not tended to do that well at Zandvoort on the game before. 2,500 resource points here that we could use to our advantage, which we certainly will do. How much we can actually improve the car from there, I'm not sure. I think we could only really do one change, probably to chassis more so than aero, but let's go and qualify first. We'll see what we can do after that. Still a really poor final 2 turns. All we need to do, though, is not be bottom 5, and we're not, or bottom 6. We're P13. Again, a scrappier lap. I'm not strong around Zandvoort. I've maybe got a 10.5 in hand, which would maybe take me to P11, but I don't know as I stand much of a chance in getting into the top 10 for Q3. We'll see what we can do in Q2. I might get lucky. We're going to improve by about 6.5 tenths-ish, which is good enough for a P6 in Q2. That was a much better lap. Right, through to Q3 then. Not expecting to put in a P6 in Q3 because everyone probably will take a step up, and I feel like that lap's probably as fast as I could possibly go. Jensen puts in a 1:11.7 and qualifies P13. I did a 1:11.4, still 7 tenths off George Russell at the front, but we are through. Daniel Ricciardo P10. Any surprises there? Both Ferraris are through, both Alpines, both Mercedes. Valtteri Bottas not quite making it in the McLaren, maybe. I think that's probably as you would expect it to go. Maybe Jenson Button not making through is actually the surprise there. I am gonna improve on my Q2 lap. We did a 1:11.4 in Q2. We're gonna do a 1:11.2 in Q3, and that puts me P7. A P7 is a good showing, I think, in qualifying around a track that I'm not that strong at, so I'll take that. I'm happy with that. With the wet weather on the way, it adds a little bit of the unknown to everything, and a 1:11.2 is probably as good as I could have gotten. That's my best lap throughout all of qualifying, so what more could I ask for than my best showing in the one lap that mattered, which was the last one. So 1:11.2, so probably start on the inters, and we should be on the mediums by lap 15, judging by how quickly it looks like it's going to dry up there, and it normally dries up quicker than it looks like it's going to. Aerodynamics or chassis? That's the decision next. Of course, the rear wing end plane failed. That will pass then just in time. I have 1600. Can I do anything with 1600? I need 1800 for that. I could do the DRS, which would help in a straight line. I could do the brakes. Oh, I'm too short. I'm too short of doing the brakes. Of course I am. Well, let's do the DRS then, because that will help with our straight line speed. We'll do that, and that'll be ready for Singapore as well. Unfortunately, not for Monza, but it'll be ready for Singapore, and then we can do the brakes after that. To the race then. Are there any penalties that we need to be aware about at the beginning of the Grand Prix? We qualified P7. Are we actually going to get the opportunity to start slightly higher because of penalties to other drivers, or is it going to be a P7 start? Leclerc and Ocon. I think it's just going to be a P7, isn't it? Yep. It's going to be a P7 start, but I'll take it. With the intermediate tyre, for everyone, I imagine, it's going to be a pretty straightforward start to the race with regards to tyre strategy. Doesn't appear like anyone's taking penalties because Button qualified 13th and will start 13th. So if there are penalties, it's coming right at the back of the grid. That isn't really going to affect anything anyway. And Guan Yu Zhou does take a penalty, but he's the only one to do so at this Grand Prix. So I need 9 laps worth of extra fuel, apparently. Bloody hell. So I expect the rain to dry up after 20 laps. If not less than. Now we'll go 26, but we will change that to 18 for the first pit stop. So strategy-wise, it's pretty straightforward. We know what we're doing, really. I think we're going to go inter, medium, soft. That's the current plan, but it depends. It depends when the rain ends. Some burnouts to warm up the tyres. Right then. Let's get our parking bang on, shall we? No, he says, as he overdoes it. Never mind. So this is the second time I've tried to do this. On a separate day now, trying to do the race. Tyre temperature bug killed me off with the intermediates at the end of the initial stint. So now I know exactly what happened in Hungary. It was tyre temps. That's why our tyres just died at the end of that Grand Prix out of nowhere. Not a terrible start, for sure. In fact, really not a bad start at all. But nobody really making much movement here. Starting 7th, of course. I'm now actually alongside Lewis and registering as P6. Now registering as 7th, but he's on the inside. And we will be for this. So that's P6 at the start, ahead of Lewis Hamilton for now. Wow. Aims are for us to go forward, obviously, but it is not going to be too straightforward to do that in these early stages. We will be slower than the majority of the cars around us in these wet conditions. It's when we get to the dry conditions when hopefully we should be able to hold our own. It's a case of trying not to fall too far behind in the meantime and just manage the gap as best I can to the front few, and hopefully catch them up when we go to dry tyres. But I'm expecting them to get away from me in these early stages. But good points is still very much a possibility. Very much a possibility. This first stint is probably going to be a bit elongated and with minimal action other than what you've just seen at the start of lap 1. So do forgive me if we skip to about lap 20 now for the YouTube video. If there's anything to bring to you in the wet, I shall show you it. Just having another look. Oh, shoving it right up the inside rather rudely. I had to just get out of the way there, otherwise there might have been contact. Down to 7th, which is, to be fair, where we started. Although Carlos Sainz is particularly interested behind me, as is Fernando Alonso behind him. I was pretty much staying up with Esteban Ocon though, which is good. Bodes well for later. Now, my hope is that Hamilton is actually faster than Ocon. Closes in on them, and two of them start to battle. But Carlos Sainz is having a look at me here that I'm really having to deal with. Oh, Carlos! You seem jerk left there. Does he hit the curb or something? Or does he just jerk left? Yeah, he bounces off the curb. So we're going to drop that to 18 when we pit. And we'll go on to softs. Oh, Ocon forced a long way wide there by Hamilton. Maybe outbraked himself. I'm not sure. We'll have a quick look. I just saw Ocon really high on the curb. So Lewis is going to get a run on him. Does Ocon just outbrake himself? Does Lewis go for it? Ocon just locks up. He just locks up and goes straight on there. Just handed Lewis the position. Lewis isn't going to say, you don't need to lose guard. You don't need to ask Lewis twice. He's not going to say no to that. It's Lewis up to P5. Safety car deployed. Not sure what for. Teammate in the pits. Jensen's in the pits. So did Jensen. Jensen's lost his front wing. It was my teammate. My teammate has lost his front wing somehow. Either on a wall or a competitor. And that has brought the safety car out because there was debris all over the track, apparently. So Charles Leclerc is now the de facto safety car at the front of the grid in P1. Can't overtake until the timing line. Just itching Ocon to get going. And as soon as Leclerc goes, we follow. Which is now. The green flag as soon as we cross the line. I'm holding off a little bit. I might have actually overtaken Ocon there, who's pulled out into me to try and overtake Hamilton without looking in his mirrors. We've taken Ocon as a result, but can't get past Lewis. So we've actually made a position there from the safety car restart. Ocon just not paying attention properly. Up to P6. I don't know what happened to Esteban Ocon there. He just kind of... He darted right without paying any attention to whether there was actually someone to his right. Very weird. Both Alpines behind me now in 6 and 7. Hopefully Ocon and Alonso have a bit of a battle between themselves behind us as well. That could save us some time. I don't think we'll have the opportunity to undercut or overcut anyone. But certainly we might have the chance to hold position through the pit stops. The fact that the safety cars come out and the field is all bunched up again, actually, unless they double stack, then potentially Red Bull, Mercedes and Alpine and Ferrari will all have to double stack to get both of their cars serviced if they do it on the same lap. So we might, depending on how the field elongates out again, we might find ourselves making a position with the pit stops because someone's had to go a lap longer on tyres that are less than ideal. Although we will probably come out on tyres that are less than ideal and potentially stand the chance of having a less than fantastic outlap, in which case it won't go against us. Just have to wait and see. But tyres are back up to temperature now, and I am going to keep an eye and try and ensure that they don't go over temperature. They don't get too hot. Because we are now in those conditions where tyre temps do get hot. If you've got too much downforce on, or you're in these changeable conditions, we shouldn't have an issue with tyre temps at all in the dry. It's in these not quite proper not quite slick conditions where tyre temps can get away from you. At the minute, my left side does look quite warm. 2 seconds to Alonso and Ocon though, although Alonso is now past Ocon, and that's why they've dropped back. Had I not... Oh, hello. It's now anyway. Soft medium is the plan from 18. That's what we were going to do anyway. And it is from 18. We've managed as best we can on these intermediate tyres that have gotten hot, but not too hot, crucially. We've been able to manage it as best we can by running in the puddles when we can find them. And on lap 18, we are going to box. Stop for softs. Mercedes double stacking. Red Bull are not. Mercedes double stacking. Red Bull are not. Alpine are double stacking too. Come on, good stop, please. Good stop. Good stop.
Alright, we'll be doing one more stop today. One stop left in this strategy.
Right, softs to mediums it is then. Same strategy as everybody else. We've overtaken Lewis Hamilton because of that double stack for Mercedes. That has gained us some time on... Not some time, and a position on the Mercedes. Struggling a little bit for traction still. It's not quite fully dry weather running yet, so I don't know whether perhaps those that stayed out on inters for one more lap might have made the best possible call. I couldn't do that because my tyres were unnecessarily hot. But because of the Mercedes double stack, we've gained about 8 to 9 seconds on Lewis Hamilton and the place. So there's a number of cars in the pits right now, including Zhou Guanyu, including Lance Stroll. The other Red Bull has gone into the pits and come out of the pits now. In fact, Zhou Guanyu and Lance Stroll very nearly coming out ahead of us. Zhou Guanyu's made some great time by staying out one lap longer. He's going to come out in P7. We are P5, so we've gained a spot on Hamilton. But you can see that the Red Bulls, even though they didn't double stack, or by not double stacking, should I say, they have gained significant time. I just put in the fastest sector 1 though, which shows me at least that we have some pace on soft tyres, and I'm less worried about Hamilton behind than I was, although that gap is still closing. It is through this part of the track where I am particularly slow. I'm going to try and beat that. My pit is 36. I do a 16.4. It's fastest lap of the race from us. These tyres have to last me until lap 36 apparently, which is not great actually. I don't know as they will last that long. Not with any sort of grip available left on them whatsoever. Lewis is just holding 2 seconds behind as well, so he's basically on my pace. We've gained about 3/10 on Daniel.
Okay, gap ahead is 8.7 seconds.
Stappen with a 15.5. Wow. presume that's DRS assisted though, Max Verstappen. No, probably not actually. I do a 15.9. So I'm 0.4 laps slower than Max, but I'm faster than the leader right now. We keep this sort of competitive pace up for the rest of the Grand Prix, we will catch Daniel Ricciardo before the end and stand a chance of P4. Whether we end up within half a minute of Max Verstappen remains to be seen, because Max is quicker than me right now. I'm going to be in trouble with Lewis soon. When Lewis gets to me though, I could try and hang on. I'm not gonna, if Lewis goes for a move, I'm not gonna fight it too hard, because we're still holding gap to Daniel, so I might be able to stick with Lewis and continue to perhaps close the gap to Daniel. Really not under any threat from behind Lewis though. Zhou Guanyu and Pierre Gasly are just sat there on their own. The two Alpines have really dropped off. We're looking good for a solid top 6 at least here with things as they stand. Verstappen's still pumping in the fastest lap times. Genuinely think I'll be better off following Lewis at the moment, but like we say, I'm not going to just needlessly move aside. But if he goes for the position, I'm not going to fight him too hard for it. Try and save my battery as well. He might go for it here, Lewis. He is. Like I say, not going to fight this too hard. Just going to stick with him and hope to manage the gap to Daniel. And follow Lewis in his DRS. Yellow flag behind us. Think an Alpine's going slowly. An Alpine is going slowly. Whether they've crashed or not, I don't know. And they're just retiring. Esteban Ocon is out of the Grand Prix. Probably, yeah, serious car issue. So that'll just be an engine blowout, probably more so than anything else. Verstappen's in the pits now, switching to mediums already. So they're going to mediums on 33. He wants me to go to mediums on 36. So I don't know what would be faster here. Just shoving on new mediums and hoping they go to the end. Or staying out for a couple of laps on these hards, on these softs, and hoping that they're faster than those mediums. I don't know at the minute. Or do I just box this lap? Russell's in the pits as well. I'm going to box. I'm going to box. Stop on 34 for mediums. Everyone else is doing the same. I don't want to be too out of the loop. Race has been alright, thank you, Connor. Helped by a safety car. Oh, front right. That's cost me loads of time. Really slow right front, as you saw. It's cost me time to Hamilton. I probably would have come out right with Lewis Hamilton, or at least in front of, annoyingly, this group. But because of that slow right front, it's going to cost me loads of time being stuck behind this lot, which is really frustrating. As such, I think we're now fighting just to stay P6 for the rest of the Grand Prix, unless there's a safety car at any point later. But I'm hoping this lot will jump into the pits rather sharpish, although I doubt it. There's another Red Bull in the pits, but now out of the pits, that'll be Daniel Ricciardo. And I was trying to chase to potentially get a P4. Now I'm going to be much, much further behind than I was. And none of this lot of pitting either. Fuck's sake. Charles Leclerc with a 13.9. I am not even close to that at the minute. Stuck behind this lot. Gap to Lewis is going to be monstrous by the time this lot pit and we get past them. Really fun with the wheel around here. Just one pitter from in front of us. That's Alex Albon. Shame I can't give team orders and ask Jensen to get out of the way, because it is negatively impacting my race right now. If this were F1 Manager, I'd be on the blower, telling him not to hold up his teammate. We want these tyres to go to the end, really. I've got only a set of used softs that I can go to. Albeit probably not very used, but they are used. I've got a very interesting McLaren behind me at the minute as well, which I'm not particularly keen about. Jensen's in the pits, as is the Haas and Mick Schumacher, as is Bottas behind. So now it's just me and Teo. Lewis is 6 seconds down the road. Pits, please, Teo. Thank you, mate. Zhou Guan Yu also in the pits. So now it's a case of can we close down Lewis, but we are 7 seconds behind now. Because of all the time we lost behind that group and the slow pit stop. 7 seconds behind Lewis, who now is only 5 seconds behind Ricciardo, which is where we wanted to be, chasing Daniel Ricciardo and closing that gap. And it would have closed if it weren't for the slow pit stop, leading to us coming out in a poor position in traffic, which might well have cost us close to the entirety of our race. Intriguingly, those behind have come out on softs again. So they're going soft, soft, medium. Whereas our plan is to go soft, medium to the end, but they might not last. We put them on 8 laps ago, and I'm already at 13% on my rear left. These tyres don't do another 30 without falling considerably off. Then it becomes a question of, if I do find myself having to pit again, will I be able to A, stay ahead of Fernando Alonso and co, or B, be able to overtake them again if I do end up going behind them. The gap back to Zhou is going to save me having to make an extra pit stop, I think. Because whilst my tyres will die, I hopefully will have the gap to be able to manage it and not need to worry about Alonso catching me, although Alonso will catch me at quite some pace at the end of the Grand Prix. The track position for the time being is very much more important. And now, basically from now onwards, if there is a safety car, maybe even a VSC, I'd consider it, going to my used set of softs. VSC if it lands at the right time. But there's been no signs of anyone having any other trouble, has there really? It was just Jensen Button outbraking himself in the wet that caused the first safety car, and I don't think there's going to be anything too much to deal with.
Okay, gap to the car ahead is 13.1 seconds.
You're right, it is a Williams behind Zhou. You are spot on, Violent. It is a Williams behind Zhou. Alonso's down in 11th. Oh, we're definitely not pitting again then. All this talk of, oh, if Alonso this, Alonso that, behind Zhou Guan Yu. Wrong shade of blue, Ches. It's not even the Alpine. It's the Williams of Magnussen. So Alonso's even further back. So it's Zhou, well, Gasly, Zhou, Magnussen, then Lance, and then Alonso's all the way back. Alonso's all the way back here on his mediums. There's a trio of them. Sainz involved as well. We are absolutely not stopping again unless there's a safety car. Obviously, Zhou and Magnussen have to pit because their soft tyres won't go to the end. If they do, it's a miracle. But we have seen strange... Oh, never mind. They're both pitting literally right now. So that's the status quo then. We are continually P6. 14 seconds behind the car in front. And 15 seconds ahead of the car behind. And as we have been for the last 20 laps or so. And will be for the next 16 laps or so. We are on our own. So on the final lap of the Grand Prix, the gap in front has grown to 25 seconds. And to be honest, the gap behind hasn't closed as much as I thought it would. It's only closed as much as it has, from 15 to 10, because I've been watching the Liverpool-Man City game at the same time, making mistakes, not driving as fast as I absolutely could, but I haven't needed to. We have basically spent 40 laps on our own. Certainly 30 laps on our own, which has been, well, entertaining for everyone watching on stream. So there's going to be a chunk of time you don't see on YouTube. And it's just been one of those, unfortunately. We are much faster than those behind us overall, but not as fast as those in front of us. And we still have a way to go. But we know we're the third fastest team on paper. But with 60% worn tyres, we will finish P6 in the Netherlands, which is an improvement of our qualifying position of P7. So, got to be happy with that. And there was no retirement. No, there was one retirement, but it was from behind us, so it didn't matter. That's another. We were P2 on pace in Belgium and P6 on pace here. And I think, quite honestly, I'm happy with where the car is right now. The Netherlands isn't that strong a track for me, as you guys are well aware. Although, to be fair, nor is Monza that comes up next. Pierre Gasly gets the fastest lap, which is annoying for the constructors because it means AlphaTauri get an extra point. But I scored more points than either AlphaTauri driver combined, so it's fine. We're currently P10 in the driver's standings, 13 ahead of Valtteri Bottas, and, well, 43 behind Esteban Ocon. So I'm not going to be moving up anymore, but I shouldn't be moving down either. P10 in the drivers will probably stay P10 to the end of the season. The constructors might change. If Jensen hadn't mucked up, then maybe he could have been in the points as well. Certainly the pace is in the car. It's a case of, can my teammate actually get it out of the car? I don't think there's that much of a... I think it's only a week's break between now and the next one, and indeed it is, as you can see. So I am going to improve my teammates' focus and awareness. And what I do want to do as well is improve my pit stop performance, because that potentially cost us today, because I could have been right with Hamilton all the way up to the back of Daniel Ricciardo, and we may well have found ourselves challenging for a P4. So unfortunately, we're not going to get anything from the next, or before the next Grand Prix. But you can see after this one, between now and Singapore, we hopefully, provided they pass, going to get 4 new upgrades to the car. So that will be very much welcome. 3 points finishes in a row, 4 in the last 5, 5 in the last 7, including a win in Canada, albeit that was very much lucky. The 2nd place in Belgium, though, no luck needed. Hopefully in Italy, we will be much better than the 15th we finished last season. Sure, we will be. It was raining last time. We'll skip that. And I will go to the race weekend to see what the weather is like at Monza, because we had a complete washout last time. It rained all day on the Sunday, and it was just nothing but pure pain. Now, nothing but sunshine. So hopefully that means good Grand Prix. Can I put fresh parts in? I certainly can. We will put fresh parts in for Monza as well, because it is, of course, a power circuit. We have the opportunity to do so. Lovely, lovely, lovely. I don't need a new gearbox, but I will put a new gearbox in. Superb! Right, that'll do us for this episode then. Thank you very much for watching, those of you on the 2nd channel. I appreciate it very much indeed. Hopefully I'll be able to get another Grand Prix to you soon, and we should hopefully finish the 2nd season before FM comes out, or at the very least, not too far into the FM cycle. I'll still try and get it done. Thank you very much for watching, guys. We should have my player content here on the 2nd channel very soon as well. And breathe. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Appreciate the support. I'll see you next time.